Greetings, tubies. Welcome back to my channel, The Wandering Nomad. I'm out here wandering in nature, as always. I shot a video a couple of minutes ago, and I was walking down Saunders Springs, and I'm now in between the trail from my last video and the hidden trail, and I'm on an unmarked trail. I've been on it for a few minutes now. I've been down it before. During the right season, there's a lot of mushrooms that grow around here, probably because of the stream and all of the little smaller streams that run through here. Keeps a lot of moisture in the ground in the area. So I'm about to cut over this tiny little creek here and get on the official hidden trail. Robin. So yeah, just thought I might share my hike with you guys. Don't really have much to say. I'm out here enjoying the solitude, as a matter of fact. Just thought I might give you guys a virtual tour of the woods this morning. You see some of the rock that's so common to Appalachia. I'm in the foothills right now. Deeper into Appalachia, you see a lot more rock like that, and it's pretty much what the Smoky Mountains and Appalachia are made of. So a lot of big rocks, a lot of moss. So here's the main stream here. Like I said, I was on the other side of it on my last video, and I've worked my way back from the lake, the hidden lake, and I'm now on the opposite side of the bank. So yeah, this is the nature preserve that I hike at the most, strictly because it is a quick 8 or 9 minute drive from the house. It'd probably be quicker than that if it wasn't off of a main road with a lot of traffic. So it's only about 4.5–5 miles from the house, so it's a pretty quick drive, even if there is a lot of traffic. So this end of Saunders Springs isn't hiked nearly as much as the upper part. It's a little bit harder to get to. You have to come downhill quite a bit, quite a few hundred feet, and most people I guess don't feel like making that hike down and then making that hike back up after hiking a few miles down here. So it's a bit quieter hiking this area, hiking this section of the nature preserve. I hike all over the nature preserve. I just happen to enjoy this end quite a bit more. You still have the stream, which is really soothing, but you have a lot less hikers to deal with, which I don't mind other hikers, but you know, like a lot of people, I come out to nature for peace of mind, and that's hard to get when you've got a bunch of chatter from other hikers coming up and down the trail. But yeah, I'm officially on the hidden trail. I believe it's called that because so many people do overlook it. Even those who aren't hiking from up top, but they're driving down here to the main creek and the pavilion area. This trail is right on a curve when you reach the very bottom of the nature preserve, and most people drive right past it and don't even notice it's there. So, and another reason that I like it is you have trails like this right here, a completely unmarked trail that you might walk right past if you weren't being watchful. And I have hiked up that trail and all around and back down, so. But I'm coming up on the main area, maybe a 1/10 or 2/10 of a mile up this path. You get back to a more trafficked area of the nature preserve, and I can kind of hear people's voices being carried this way on the wind. But it's a beautiful day for being the middle of February. I really couldn't tell you what the temperature is, but I've got a t-shirt on and a light jacket, and I can feel myself sweating underneath it. Excuse me. So yeah, I'm just out here kind of working on my stamina, getting my stamina built back up from my hernia surgery. And I don't know how good this camera is. I know it's a pretty good camera, but I don't know if you guys can see my Blazers parked there across the creek through the woods. And there comes another trail. That's the curve that I was talking about right there that most people drive right past like that car is doing. And so they miss the other side of this hidden trail. This side that I'm on now is much more trafficked, as you can see. It's had gravel laid down on it at one point, and it comes out up here. Excuse me, it comes out up here where the main pavilions are, the only pavilions. And so obviously it's not quite as hidden as its name alludes. I'm sure at one point it was. And I'm sure it still is the least trafficked of all the trails. As you can see, kind of how hilly these foothills are of Appalachia. I mean, these are basically ridges. You find these all through Appalachia, the main geography from Georgia through North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania. So, and here's the main pavilion. A couple of hikers hiking through it. And where they were crossing that bridge there, they're heading onto the trail that I just got off of. And I'm wrapping back around towards my Blazer. So yeah, I just thought that I would share my hike with you guys. It's kind of lonely hiking the same trails day in and day out, but I'm not complaining. I'm thankful to be able to get out in nature as much as I do. And here, as soon as it warms up a little bit more, I'll be taking my equipment, my GoPro and my Canon and my other little cameras out to Daniel Boone State Forest and Mammoth Caves National Park for starters. Probably some TBA and forestry land that I like to camp on down south. And hopefully I'm going to make a few pit stops this spring, this summer. The Georgia Guidestones and Cahokia, right outside of St. Louis, Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, and a couple of other places that I've had in mind for a year or two that I've really wanted to visit. The trusty Blazer. I'm going to hike back down the stream a ways and cross back over versus taking the easy way and crossing the bridge by the pavilion. So yeah, I've got several places on my agenda this spring and summer to visit and take video and pictures of. I'm wishing that I would have brought my Canon with me today to take pictures out here of the stream. It's a really beautiful day, probably one of the nicest days we've had since last fall, and this weekend is supposed to be even nicer. I really wanted to go camping, but I haven't got the release form from my doctor yet. After my hernia surgery, still healing up a little bit, and not trying to injure myself by carrying that gear by myself. So if I had ultralight gear, maybe, but I don't. I have normal camping gear, backcountry camping gear, so it's a bit heavier because I tend to camp in a spot for a week or two versus lightweight hikers who hike straight through. They don't need all the gear that I do. So I don't quite think I'm up to carrying 50 or 60 pounds quite yet. Give it another week or two and I should be able to. And at that point I will probably go out and start shooting video at the national park here in Kentucky. Mammoth Caves National Park is the only national park in Kentucky, other than a couple of historic national sites, a couple of places related to Abraham Lincoln, and the Cumberland Gap, which is joint Tennessee and Kentucky national site. But as far as actual